Hello everyone, this is Lori once again for Lessons for Communicators, Community Participation, Pros and Caveats. Since this is the last module for this subject, I want to congratulate us for surviving this subject, and I also wanted to thank all of you that I have interacted with this semester. Now, before we dive into community participation, I have a few things we need to ponder first. Number one, is mass media the best possible medium for campaigns, or is it just convenient for us? We cannot disregard the amount of convenience mass media or social media has brought to our lives. We can also say that the pros can outweigh the cons. This type of media bridge us closer than ever, but is it really for the best of the campaign, or we rather send link to a group chat for the campaign than spend hours under the sun looking for participants? Research proved that little success has been achieved in developing countries using a strictly mass media model, because of course not all have access to this or they are uninformed on the advancement of social media. Additionally, mass media is seldom sufficient to bring about behavioral change. This is because we are lacking human interaction. We cannot send our messages in this channel hoping that these messages are enough to rally actions from people. This is almost a one-way communication. We are missing that human interaction. We are missing the immersion part of the program if we keep on hiding behind our screens. Another thing to ponder, do we realize that what we do actually affect the lives of people? To us, this is just a project, a schoolwork, but to them, it is their lives at stake. When we do this program, do we take that families to tend to, and we have to take them out of their routines, use their time and resources? Success has depended on interpersonal communication and participation of community-based workers, meaning we have to organize these dialogues. We need the help of workers in that communities to ensure the success of our programs. There is no substitute for much more difficult work of community involvement and education. We need to rally communities to have the same goal for the program. But the question still stands. Why do we really do this? Next, we dive into the differences of social marketing and community participation. We all know that social marketing is the advocacy to changing a behavior for the better. Their difference is simple but stark. It lies on the level of participation of the chosen community. In social marketing, we decide. We decide the problems, the issues, we decide what to fix, what to do, who are involved individuals. We are the deciding body and we just impose our decisions to the chosen community. Whereas in community participation, the community is involved in the process from the beginning. They are not just participants, they are also the deciding body. We are there to guide them and to nudge them for our programs. Next, we discuss community participation. First, we stay true to its name, participation. It will always fail unless people are directly involved in it, meaning the whole community must be engaged for this. Second, we never assume what communities are always harmonious. We were called for a program for a reason. Next, if not careful, projects could do more harm than good. We need to be careful in selecting a project for the program because the program can tip the community off the edge, and we can potentially destroy remaining balance in there. Fourth, small-scale projects are often overlooked by partners due to the impact it can make in the country's economy. Imagine you are a fast food mogul searching a community to sponsor to reduce your taxes. Why would you ever select a far-flung community you have to travel by boat to reach as the recipient of your program when there is a slum area nearby your house? Fifth, any action made by outside force can be manipulative in nature. Let us remember that these communities can be vulnerable. We must be very careful in selecting our partners and make sure that we are aligned in ideals and morals. These activities can induce community pressure. If we are not careful enough, the ties of the community can tighten, so that is why inclusion of all members of the community is important for this type of project. This leads us to the last number. Participation can bring out the participating elite, defeating the purpose of reaching out to all walks of life in the communities. There are many people that we can meet in communities and all have the participating elite, the pabibos as we call it. And most of the time, these individuals can and will get all the say in the programs because they attend all the gatherings, they are more vocal in their wants, and some are aggressive too. It is our duty to balance out these participating elites and get the opinions of all members or representations of the community. Lord, the caveats or the limitations of community participation. Caveat 1. Participatory processes are not a panacea for development and are not suitable for solving all problems. A mother with a dying child of dehydration does not want to participate in a long-term process. She needs information and action. We must remember that not all issues are solvable by community participation. There are deep-rooted problems that are way beyond our help. Additionally, there were causes that needs for immediate action. Plainly speaking, we need to really assess and come up with plans and programs suitable for our chosen communities. And we should not be limited to what we were introduced to or what we think is the best. DevCom is alive, fluid, and malleable. For caveat 2, the opposing concepts of participation and manipulation may be viewed from many perspectives. A participatory social communicator entering a village with a particular picture of reality or worldview to sell may be equally manipulative. There is a fine line between manipulation and participation, and we do not dare to cross over manipulation. Ensuring that our community will not be a subject to this, we must be really careful. We must look into our project with clear vision and sound mind. We must be always prepared when certain scenarios sprung to us. We must protect our communities from manipulators and be careful if we ever turn into one. Let us always put our heart and soul into our programs. Lastly, the caveat 3. The price people pay to participate is often overlooked. It is often assumed that villagers have nothing better to do than to participate. For every hour spent in participating, the villager pays an opportunity cost of foregoing other, potentially more productive activities. We must never forget this caveat. We are all here to intrude. We are the ones disrupting their schedules, their lives, and their jobs. We must always be respectful and appreciative of what they can offer. In return, we must do our jobs well, do them efficiently, be grateful, be considerate, and be effective. For community participation, I hope you learned a thing or two. Please answer these discussion issues. When conducting a community participation project, how will you rouse the interest of all members of the community to join in on your project? And number 2, how will you ensure that you yourself will not turn into a manipulator to get your desired project outcome? So I guess that's it. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you all at the comment section below. Bye!